Secretary Philomena Robertson. Welcome to this week's Post-Cabinet Press Briefing. This morning I have with me here at the head table the Minister for Trade, Cooperatives, Industry and CARICOM Affairs, Honorable Oliver Joseph, and also the Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and the Arts, Senator the Honorable Nolan Joseph. Now, Cox, sorry. I'm very sorry, Senator Cox. Okay, so we are going to be talking this morning about CARICOM, the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting that just concluded in St. Lucia last week. Minister Joseph would have been part of the Grenada delegation that attended that meeting. And Senator Cox, I got the name correct this time, will be speaking to us about developments in sports, specifically as it relates to the National Stadium, and of course the upcoming carnival season. Minister Joseph, I would ask you to lead off this morning, provide us with an opening statement.
Thank you very much, and welcome to viewers and listeners and members of the press. I want to start, first of all, with a decision that Cabinet took yesterday, which I'm sure will be of great interest to the users of public transport. Cabinet approved an amendment to the road traffic bus route regulations to create a new bus route commencing at Grandans and terminating at Grenville, traveling via Woodlands, Grandlands Valley, St. David's into Grenville. As you know, currently we do not have such a route. And this bus will leave Grenville, come down St. David's, it will go through Woodlands, Grandlands Valley, and terminate in Grandlands, next to Wall Street there, and go from there, go back up to Grenville using that route. So that's a new route that Cabinet has been approved, and this route would be in place for the carnival season. So that should assist commuters. Cabinet also approved the recommendation to expand Zone 4 to terminate in Red Gate as opposed to Beaton. So let me explain where is Zone 4. That's the bus that takes you up to St. David's using what we call the top road, St. Paul's, coming down. But at the moment, after you pass Pedmota Junction, they will terminate at Beaton. So if you want to get to Red Gate, you will have to get a next bus or some transport that will take you to Red Gate. This extended route will take you to Red Gate. So you take people there. Well, I think this is critical because I've heard a lot of complaint from people who wants to get to Red Gate, because from there you get the buses coming from St. George's quite easily to take you up. But if you drop out in Beaton, where they terminate at the moment, then it makes it extremely difficult. So Cabinet has approved to extend the route to Red Gate. So I wanted to start out with this. And then I will go to the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, which was held in St. Lucia from the 3rd to the 5th. As you are aware, I accompanied the Prime Minister to that meeting, and a number of decisions emanated from the meeting which I want to bring to the attention of the public. First of all, with CSME, you know this is our flagship project in CARICOM. So the participating member states took a decision to continue in the implementation of measures to ensure the smooth implementation of the CSME. An important feature of this meeting was the private sector, labor and civil society presentation to the heads. They have established a private sector body known as CARICOM Private Sector Organization. And they have applied to CARICOM to be designated as an associate institution of the community. And that is expected to be finalized by the end of the year. So the Caribbean Private Sector Organization would be considered to become an associate institution. Also, the issue of blacklisting. You may be aware that a number of CARICOM countries were placed on a blacklist by the European Union. And we had to take a number of measures, including legislative changes, in order to comply with the requirements of the European Union. Grenada was removed from the blacklist, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was also removed. But there are a number of member states either on the blacklist or on the grey list. And the heads took a decision to work together as a united front in dealing with this issue of blacklisting, and as a strategy decided that each member state should engage members of the European Union on a bilateral basis in order to discuss with them the serious implication of blacklisting CARICOM member states. So if we have, say, good relations with any of the European Union members, say, for example, France, and the next CARICOM member state have good relation with Germany, then we'll engage them bilaterally. Because when the decision is taken to put you on the blacklist, it is done on a unanimous decision basis. So if any one member state object, then you do not get onto it. So it's important for this strategy going forward is to identify EU member states that we have good relations with, to point out to them and work with them to ensure that the issue of the blacklisting does not happen to CARICOM member states. So that was a critical decision coming out of the meeting. With respect to the situation in Haiti, the foreign minister of Haiti made a presentation to CARICOM with respect to what is happening in Haiti. You may be aware that in October, there was violence in the street that led to the death of several people. And still, there is unrest in Haiti. And so CARICOM heads expressed their concern over the situation as a member state of CARICOM, because Haiti is a CARICOM member state. And the decision of the heads is that a delegation comprising of the chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Prime Minister of the Bahamas and Jamaica, together with the Secretary General, will visit Haiti on a fact-finding mission and then inform the community as with respect to what position they will take on Haiti. But we are very concerned as a CARICOM member state, the situation that Haiti is in. Recall also that Haiti at the moment does not have a prime minister, because the last prime minister was removed from office, and every nomination from the president so far has been unsuccessful. So it's of grave concern to the community at this time. Grenada is the head, Grenada Prime Minister has lead responsibility for science and technology. And so he presented a paper to the heads proposing that a committee be set up that will draw a proposal and seek funding in order to implement science and technology in a real practical sense to help the development, socio-economic development of CARICOM member states. And therefore, Prime Minister Dr. Mitchell has the responsibility, lead responsibility for ensuring that this framework is being developed that will see science and technology playing a more leading role in our social and economic development. And that was well received, I must say, by the heads, his presentation. And of course, the situation that the press is always interested in, the situation in Venezuela. Well, the heads of government received an update with respect to mediation activities and agreed that the mediation effort by CARICOM will continue with the same team. That is the Prime Minister, outgoing chairman, Prime Minister of St. Kitts, Prime Minister of Barbados, and the Prime Minister of Trinidad. The incoming chair, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, decided that the same team should be allowed to continue the mediation process. He recommended that, and the rest of the CARICOM heads agreed that the same team will continue. As you may know, there will be a meeting in Barbados between the Maduro's party and the opposition in order to see if the matter can be resolved peacefully. And that has always been Grenada's position from day one, saying do not take sides in this matter. Bring the two parties together to talk, because only through dialogue could you get a peaceful resolution. It seems that this message is now resonating with all parties, and so they are at the table now talking. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines put forward a proposal to establish what he called ABCD Commission: Africa, Brazil, Caribbean, the Diaspora Commission, so that links, trade, and otherwise could be developed between Africa, Brazil, the Caribbean, and the diaspora. So he will continue, the meeting agreed that he will continue to work in that area, and the UWI pledged support for this committee to come up with a paper, a proposal, and how this ABCD committee proposal will work. And the heads agreed to that proposal. The heads of government also welcomed the action by 12 member states to put in place a full or partial ban on plastic bags, single-use plastic, styrofoam, and the ongoing efforts to implement a region-wide ban on styrofoam. As you know, Grenada is one of the 12 countries that was in the early stages, passed legislation to ban single-use plastic and styrofoam. And the heads welcomed that decision and are looking for a common approach and a common regime that all member states will implement. Also at the meeting was the Prime Minister of Norway. She attended the meeting as a special guest and pledged support to Carriacou in climate financing. She also had a bilateral with our Prime Minister to look at how Norway can assist Grenada in a number of areas bilaterally. So the meeting, I would say, from that perspective, was very successful. Decisions were able to reach, and the Secretary General of the UN also addressed at the opening ceremony to show support for small island developing states and pledge support to the Caribbean and to support the Caribbean call for greater financing for small island developing states. So that is what I want to highlight from the outcome of the CARICOM meeting. But there is one matter that is in the public domain which I would like to speak to. It has to do with the issue of cell phone use by members of parliament and senior public officials. Government has a long-standing policy of providing cell phones to ministers and senior public servants. The bills for which are part of a bundled package with Digicel. Periodic reviews are conducted by the ministry responsible for cell phones. And last week, government initiated a meeting with representatives from the service provider, Digicel, to examine costs and to ensure that government is getting value for money with its current arrangement. Now, under the current arrangement, there is a cap for every user of government phone. So sometimes I'll get a notice telling me that I use up 90% of my internet bundle, because there's a cap. If you travel, there will be a cap on roaming charges. But it seems that there is some failure, systemic failure, since it has been pointed out that the excess usage, which should not happen if you have a system where the cap is placed on your phone. However, a review was conducted on the use of government cell phone. The accusation in the public is that some persons who leave the system are still in possession of phone. While the onus is on the person who leave the system to return phones, it is also incumbent on the ministry or the persons responsible to undertake regular reviews to prevent instances of abuse. In other words, if you're working in a ministry and you're no longer in the service of government, if you did not return the phone, then the ministry should take steps. Okay, it's very simple to notify Digicel that you're no longer in this position, therefore they should continue your service. But apparently that did not happen, and you had individuals who outside the service were still in possession of the phone. And while as a government we must take responsibility, as I said, we accept that, but the person also have the obligation to return the phone and exiting the public service. So government wishes to assure the public that it will continue the current review of cell phone use with a view to curbing wastage and to also continue working with the service provider to ensure that the plan provided to government is best suited to its needs. Now, the Ministry of Finance pays the bill on behalf of government. And the Minister of Finance asked just recently to see the bills. And that was because ministers were complaining that they are not getting, when they travel, they cannot make overseas call because we reach our limit, or even locally, reach our limit. So he wanted to know what is the real situation. And it is then that he decided to engage, that the Ministry of Finance should engage Digicel with respect to the plan that we have as ministers and government officials with respect to the use of cell phone. So that is the situation. As I said, with respect to the use of cell phone, we will continue to review and take the appropriate measures when the review is completed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Joseph. I now call on Senator Nolan Cox to also give us an opening statement as it relates to areas within his portfolio.
Thank you very much, Press Secretary. Members of the public and the media personnel here, thank you for being here, and pleasant morning. This morning I just wanted to give some updates on sports and also Carnival. You know, we're in the Carnival season. And so I want to start off with sports first. Sometime in October of 2017, the government of Grenada, together with the People's Republic of China, signed an agreement on economic development and technical cooperation. And as part of that agreement, support is to given to Grenada by way in several areas. And one such area has to do with general maintenance and technical support towards our stadia, both athletics and cricket stadium. And today, we'll be expecting 8 technicians coming from China will be in Grenada today to commence operation and general maintenance work on the athletics stadium. Basically, a lot of it has to do with technical capacity building for our staff at the stadium, and also to help with whatever repairs that might be required from since we opened that stadium. So they'll be here for a period of 3 years, and we want to express our gratitude and thanks towards the People's Republic of China for their continued support and cooperation as we work towards improving our facility. More information as regards to the cricket stadium and their involvement in the repair work will come at a later time. But for now, we're moving forward with the work on the athletics stadium. As regards to Carnival, we know we're right there in the middle of the Carnival season, and the ministry is very encouraged by the level of participation and the number of activities that are being held, and most so importantly, by the support that patrons continue to give to various initiatives that persons are taking in terms of investing in Carnival and to ensure that we have viable activities for persons to go to. This, we want to encourage it, and not only just to say we're having things, but because of the impact that it has in terms of invaluable impact to our economy, our local economy here in Grenada, and also it may have impact outside as well. Persons wanted to come in even before the actual carnival weekend. So we want to really recognize that and to give some credence to that and to ask persons to continue to support. We just had the conclusion of our soca preliminaries and also Pan Expression, and they were well attended and supported. We want to thank our artists again and our stakeholders for continuing to work with us. We know that some of the improvements that we are making may have some challenges in some cases, but the whole idea is for us to ensure that we give the best package ever, and so that each and every one of us can benefit from this initiative in a positive way. So we just want to give some recognition to that. I think about 2 weeks ago, when I was last here at post-cabinet briefing, we did speak to some improvements that we were working on specifically in relation to Calypso. And on Sunday, we commenced our radio program to promote Calypso. It's called Brass Tacks. It's going to run on Thursdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the evening, on Thursdays and Sundays. We really want to ask persons to listen in. It's going to be on WeiFM, and also we run on C-Styles in Carriacou and Magic FM as well. So 3 radio stations. Currently, we are working closely with other radio stations to come on board. The more, the merrier. This initiative is led by the Cultural Foundation, and the host is, of course, the CEO of the Cultural Foundation, Ms. Shama Wells. I want to put on record for first airing of the program on Sunday. The feedback has been extremely positive, also locally and also on social media. I think we had over 2,500 people viewing the program. I think that was excellent. And we want to commend the Cultural Foundation and all our stakeholders who are working together with us to promote Calypso. Calypso is the genesis of everything soca and groovy, and so it is important that we pay some serious attention to make sure we secure this important cultural asset. So this program will be on again on Thursday, and we expect persons to continue to engage the program. There'll be various guests calling in, different Calypso music played present, past, and so it's in an effort to get persons to get more acquainted with this special liking for Calypso. As we know, Calypso, people in Grenada love Calypso, and on Saturday, we had a Calypso show on Saturday, and the report is that persons couldn't even get into the show on Saturday. And so maybe the promoters may have to start looking for a different venue for that show going forward, because this is growing. And so we are very much encouraged by that. So we want to ask persons to continue to support that show. We did also mention that we're going to be recognizing our veteran artists, and commencing this year at the March Gras, we're going to have a feature where we recognize 2 artists going forward from this year. And we have identified 2 artists for this year, and that has already been confirmed. 2 artists, veteran artists in the name of Cecil Belfont, which is the Flying Turkey, and Patrick Paul, the Praying Mantis. So they are going to be here as our guests for Carnival Arch de March Gras, where they will be recognized, receive awards, and an opportunity to perform some of the Calypso. And so we ask persons to come out, come and support, come and be part of this experience. It is not just a competition that we have in, but we're going to have a wonderful Calypso experience. That is what we're hoping to do. We have engaged our cultural ambassador, Mr. Ricardo Kings Douglas, who will be doing the production, working together with Spice Master to ensure that we have a wonderful show on that night. So this is very encouraging for us. We want to ask persons to come out and be part of that experience on March Gras night. While those things are quite encouraging and there's some positive, we, from the Ministry of Culture and, of course, the Government of Grenada, do have some concerns as well, and a couple of them. And one of them in particular speaks to a video that is going around with some alleged actions, and the Royal Grenada Police Force has been tasked with the responsibility to look into this matter. And from initial assessment, it is not what most people think that is happening. While we're happy that is the case, but in the whole, in terms of the decorum and how it look, that is not what we want to depict as Grenadians and how we enjoy ourselves. So we want to really caution persons to carry themselves in a better manner when enjoying themselves, and that is something that we have to guard against because of our image as a country, as a people. We have young children, we have the whole world looking at us, and so we want to guard against that. But as regard to that matter, the Royal Grenada Police Force will be issuing a statement, if not today, sometime tomorrow, on that particular issue. Another issue of concern for us has to do with loud music being played by passenger vehicles, in particular, especially on a Sunday when other persons are worshiping. We ask persons to be more responsible and have some level of respect as well. We understand that each of us have rights, but when your rights go far to infringe on someone else's, then it becomes a problem. And so we recognize that that is an issue as well. Also, the issue of the vehicle accidents, again, we continue. It's an issue, it's a concern, and I know that the Royal Grenada Police Force is working hard with a number of measures to ensure, to minimize that in the issue of safety for everyone. And sometimes person may say, I drive okay, but if the other person is not doing what they're supposed to, then any one of us can have a terrible experience. And so these are some very serious concerns for us. Also, there is an issue. I know sometime last year there were some concerns regarding that. Two particular issues. One, the type of music that person sing, the lyrics, the lyrical content. Again, it seems like it has been an issue. We have been very cautious from the Ministry of Culture in terms of whether or not you should be getting how involved we should get. As I said, sometimes you want to give person an opportunity to explore their creativity, to do what to find themselves in terms of preparing the calypso. But we want to caution persons against that because at some point in time, if persons do not accede, then we might have to take some remedial action in some instances. Also, we know that we are selling the Jab Jab as part of our product, our Carnival product. But then again, the video jabs on a Sunday morning when persons go into church, interfering with them, handbugging, that is an issue. So we ask persons, please exercise some level of control, and we have to understand that each and every one of us have to coexist. While we know this is our time in terms of when we celebrate Carnival, but there are persons who do not celebrate Carnival, and we have to respect them as well. So those are some of the areas of concern that we really want to highlight, and we're asking persons to please accede to those concerns, because if not, then we would have to take extra measures to ensure that each and every one of our citizens are not affected in any negative way because one person wants to enjoy themselves. So we're just asking so that we do not have to go to that. We don't have to go to that level. The police, we're having some discussions, and so we're asking for some level of control by our persons or patrons or masqueraders, because we know that what you do is important in terms of the product, but at the same time, let not create any adverse situation or condition for another fellow citizen. So, we want to reiterate the safety, the impact that what we do, that it can have out there in the world, and people are looking at us in terms of it can affect our product, tourism product. We have our young people to protect, and so we're asking everybody to be responsible around this time. We have our visitors coming. We want them to have a wonderful experience so they can come back to Grenada. So the responsibility is not just on the government of Grenada or on the Ministry of Culture, but each and every one of us as Grenadian citizens to ensure that we provide a wonderful experience for persons coming here in a responsible way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Cox, for that opening statement, and certainly a timely appeal for us to have clean, safe fun this carnival season. The time is now for questions. As per usual, please identify your media house and yourself before asking your question.
Sherry and Noel, GIS. This question is for Honorable Joseph. Can you please expound a little further on the ABCD initiative, the process to start, and if there is any time frame in mind for this, and for it to become a reality, and how can Grenada benefit, especially in light of concerns about trade deficits?
All right, thank you very much. Now, this is a proposal, so it's in the initial stage for the Prime Minister of St. Vincent that we should look at having deeper relations with Africa, Brazil, the diaspora, and to establish this commission. So work will now start. Now that the heads have said, yes, we have looked at your proposal, and a committee has been established to flesh out the way forward, and then it will come back to heads with a recommendation going forward.
The other question is for Senator Cox. Senator Cox, you mentioned a bit about lyrics and everything as it pertains to the songs that we have out there. But I just want you to give us a review. We know that the quarterfinals for the soca just concluded. We have the 30 name artists. I know you came and you observed some of it. Just to give us your review on that and the upcoming groovy that's going to happen on the weekend.
As I indicated, first of all, we express gratitude for persons for coming forward, for having the courage to come forward, for investing in Carnival, for actually putting out monies, recording your songs, taking time off, coming and making the event what it is. I think that is critical for us to recognize. One of the things that I see, and from last year and even to now, the level of interest from persons wanting to be involved in the art form has sustained and in some cases would have grown, and that is encouraging. One of the most difficult things to achieve in this business is sustainability in terms of the quality of the work. And so, as I indicated the last time when I was here at PostCab, we have looked at a number of initiatives for 2020 in terms of helping the artisans of the Calypsonian to be a better Calypsonian, business-wise, presentation-wise, songwriting-wise skills. And so we realized that is an area that which we can do some work and improve on. And so while there are weaknesses, all in all, we are pretty happy with what we saw.
Okay, and how much are you looking forward to the groovy aspect of the?
Well, of course, it's a segment that component of the soca is one which has a lot of persons are interested in that component. I love groovy, love party tune, much more than soca. With soca, you could get tired very quickly, you know. So, and it could also cause you to behave sometimes in a manner that you can't go wild. While that is so, I think groovy has a decent, nice clientele, and a number of persons really enjoyed it and look forward to it. So we have some good artists. All our artists are pretty good, and we have some of the best artists in the world. And so we expect it to be a wonderful event, and of course, Carnival to be superb. That's what we're working towards.
And my final question for you has to do with sports. You mentioned about the 8 technicians that are coming, the maintenance and so of the national stadium. And you said for 3 years, that's the stadium. 3 years may seem to be long, but time goes by very quickly. During that process time, will there be Grenadians understudying those technicians so that when they go back, the maintenance work can continue?
Certainly. That is a major component of this engagement, even the agreement. So a lot of that is specifically written within the agreement that those training and capacity building will be conducted. So they have even asked us in terms of requirement to ensure that we have competent persons ready to receive those training. And so we really look forward to that, and we believe that will help in terms of cost savings, in terms of the efficiency and the operations, and the services that we provide at both facilities. As I said, we're starting now with the athletic stadium and the cricket stadium. We currently have the agreement before us. Cabinet has not finalized on it as yet. As soon as that is done, the public will be informed. But the work on the cricket stadium is far more extensive because of the stadium is about 10 years old, and so a lot of renovation works to be done there.
Honorable Joseph, in terms of the new bus routes, how soon would we see stickers being issued and so for its operations?
Thanks for asking that question. The next stage is to have it gazetted, because it must be done in regulation. The hope is that by Carnival, we should issue stickers for the new bus route. And I'm particularly pleased as a representative from St. David's with this route, because you have a lot of people from St. David's that comes to work in Grand Lands, but have to take a bus and go to the drop in the terminal, and then take a next one and go to Grand Lands. So now they're coming down. The bus from Grenville will come down, come through Woodlands, Grand Lands Valley, and go into Grand Lands. So one bus will take them there. And also, the expansion of the bus route to Red Gate is one that I'm extremely pleased to see happening, because I've always heard the complaint that when you drop in Beaton, you're not getting a next bus to go to Red Gate. Where is the point that you have all the other traffic flowing from? So the cabinet took the decision yesterday, so very soon it will be gazetted and the sticker will be issued.
And all this is based on dialogue. I know we have different bus associations.
Oh yes, a lot of dialogue. This started about 2 years ago, and the ministry ensured that you had dialogue with the bus drivers, the route. They looked at a lot of possibilities. The easier one was to extend Beaton to Red Gate, but they had to consider the buses coming, because they never did that before, coming through Grand Lands Valley, Woodlands, Grand Lands Valley. And where, I remember a lot of debate was, where in Grand Lands would they terminate? Would it be by the first roundabout by Fish and Chick there? Should it be there? Should it be by Wall Street? You know, a lot of the police was involved, the bus association involved, the ministry involved, for 2 years before they finally agree to come with this recommendation to cabinet. And I say I'm extremely pleased about that.
Christelina, John Grenada Broadcasting Network. My question to you, Minister, would there be an adjustment in the fares for the buses coming through that new route?
Actually, fare did not come up at cabinet. I suppose that would be a decision for the licensing authority. But that's a good question. But that did not come up at all when you're looking at the regulation and the route. Whether you pay more coming on that route to Grenada or not. Sophia, it was not discussed, but I'm sure the licensing authority will take that into consideration, because that's a good question.
They would soon, because you don't want people, having to go through that conflicting situation whenever it comes into show.
No, they would before they issue the bus sticker route. They will have the fare ready. Yes, that will take place.
Chris Ann Mitchell, GIS. Minister Joseph, can you please tell me what zone number, what sticker will be issued to the buses that is traveling through the Grand Lands route?
Yes, there will be a brown sticker on the route. It will be written. So you will see Grand Lands, Woodlands, St. David, Grenville. That will be clearly written on the sticker for the bus.
What she's trying to get at is the number will be 2, because I know is already a Zone 2 that says Grenville, St. David, St. George. So she's trying to find out what would that particular number be for that one that goes through to Grandis.
That's the number on it. Yes, that it will be assigned a different route number to what is existing now. Yeah.
A number has not yet been.
No, the licensing authority. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Delissa Richardson, the Grenadian Voice newspaper. I have a couple of questions for Senator Cox. In regards to the awards for the Calypsonians, what do you hope to achieve given these awards as the years go by?
Thank you very much for that question. It's a very important question because one of the things that we have recognized is that a lot of our veteran artists are basically falling off the radar. And also we believe that they have immense resource in terms of encouraging, influencing, and motivating young persons to continue in that art form. And so we do not want to lose that. We do not want to forget the contribution they would have made because those contributions is what carry us to where we are today. And so we believe that it is fitting for us to recognize those contributions and to appreciate the effort that they would have made. And so we believe that it has a twofold approach in terms of encouraging young persons because one can argue. The question is, are the calypsos of yesterday better than today? So those are some of the things that we're looking at. And we believe that there's also an opportunity for even pulling all Grenada's resources in terms of our calypsos and doing something with it going forward. So those are some of the discussions that we are having. Thank you.
Also, I would like to know the awardees, would them receiving the award now, would that keep them out of competing in the future, or it wouldn't hamper them from competing?
No. While the focus is on persons who are not in competition, if persons may at some point in time wish to come back in competition, no, that would not keep them. We also we have considered and we'll be also recognizing persons who would have deceased as well. And so we're going to recognize everybody throughout this process. So it's not just only for persons who are alive, but persons who are deceased as well. But it wouldn't prevent you from coming back in the competition because it means that you're coming to add more. I mean, maybe we should probably give you another award for coming back.
Okay, last question. There hasn't been a list release of the Calypsonians who have registered for, the Match Girl. What is causing that? Because the list has been released for the Soca Monarch and for Groovy, okay, but there hasn't been any for the Match Girl.
Okay. Let me, the registration, because the Calypso is structured differently. Calypso is at the 10 process. Announcement will go out when different days when the tents will be taking place. All right. So each tent have their Calypsonians and who will register with Spice Mass. So when we're ready, when the time comes for the tent, those names will go out. So as the event gets closer, that is when we put out the names. So it is not anything. And after the tent, then the semifinalists are selected, and the list will go out, and likewise with the others. So that will happen. That is a normal thing. Yes, and then don't forget we have our juniors as well. We also took a decision not to charge any registration fee for junior Calypsonians, so they're not going to be charged any registration fee, although the initial proposal charge of $25. And one of the reasons for that, there were some discussions that we are having in looking at the age range, the age limit, because there are a number of young persons who might be interested in singing at the junior level but is not in school. Currently, the junior Calypso competition is based around schools. And so there are persons who are outside of school but still considered a junior. and we want to create an opportunity for them to participate going forward. But we discuss with the association and see how we can flesh that out. And so we choose not to charge any processing fee for them until we resolve all this matter. So going forward, there may be a small fee for processing the registration going forward, but not for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. That would have been my next question because, in my mind, I was saying over the years, not much promotion have been placed on the junior calypso competition. I know this year that we have a semi-final round before we have the final round, which is good. But are there any other boosts for the young people in terms of any increase in prize money or anything else for the juniors this year?
Oh, yes, certainly. And I just wanted to also, before I get to the prize for juniors, I think it is really critical. And there are a number of persons in the background who have been working with the juniors for a number of years. And sometimes people who work, their work is not known. We have our point person in the ministry who do a number of the songs for the juniors. And then also we have Teacher Eddie who works with them as well, and a couple other persons who come out and play music and to help them. And so these efforts are critical towards the sustainability of our juniors who definitely go on to become seniors in terms of sustaining the product. So we really want to recognize and thank them for their efforts. As regards to the prize monies, when we look at the prize monies for our juniors, that is the only price category in the increases that didn't fall within the 10 to 15% that are prescribed. We fall way outside of it. So the increases is much more than the 15% that we prescribed because we believe that it was extremely low. So we increased it quite significantly. Yes. I think for example, I could just recall the first prize. I think the first prize was $3,000. I think we increased it to $5,000. Yes, so that is much more than 15%. Not so? Yes. So, and I think for the others, we beefed up as well. We think that it was inadequate, and so we increased it to that. Yeah.
Much appreciated. And would there be anything that would be done as to perhaps get people more interested in attending the event?
Well, I know that Spice Mars have some specific initiatives. One of the things that we didn't have any major push because we always believe that parents would always come with their kids, and so you already have for each artist, junior artist, you're guaranteed at least one parent or guardian to be there. From based on feedback, there have been good support in the past, and hence the reason why we have the semi-final round. Added to that, we have received some positive feedback in terms of the sponsorship. Persons are very much interested in wanting to do that. We had a sponsor requesting to do a junior power soca, but the time was a bit short for us, so we didn't entertain that. So the interest is there, but we haven't had any targeted specific promotion for the juniors as we have been doing for the March Girl, which has been a little bit challenging in terms of the performance over the years. But the juniors have been always well attended, and so we didn't put any specific approach, but just general support as normal in terms of promotion. And so it has been going pretty good. But I can tell you there are a number of persons from the Ministry of Culture and from the association who is working in the backgrounds to have them ready, prepare them, and do all the necessaries. So it's going to be a wonderful show, and they're back. The finals is back at the Children's Frolic, and we think that is wonderful as well.
Good morning, Calistro Farrier. At your last news conference, Senator, you had said that you were considering a monetary prize as well for the veteran Calypsonians who are being honored. Did you settle on that? Is that on the table?
Well, it's not a prize. We did consider a little token, a little appearance fee, and if you please just agree with me, I do not want to disclose that at this point in time. If I feel necessary after discussions, I will do so going forward. But yes, we agreed, and we are going to give them something. Yes.
Okay. Minister Joseph, the government, the cabinet some years ago had said that, well, I know that one of the hallmarks of this government has been cutting down on wastage. You've made several efforts in various areas to cut down on government spending, and one of the policies of the government had been, and as a cabinet member you might be able to speak to this, had been where it came to cell phone usage. I know that the government had issued several mobile phones to cabinet members and permanent government officials on a whole to facilitate doing their jobs, and there had been a cap on the amount, and once it got into the red zone, that the individual who would have been responsible for raising it beyond what was approved would be spoken to. Can you tell me whether or not that policy is still in effect?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. The policy is still in effect. As you know, all governments would, as a policy, issue cell phone to senior officials, government ministers, and we, in order to keep control of costs, as you indicated, and wastage, agreed with the provider. First of all, the two providers had to bid to get a government contract. We agreed to put a cap. So when I have my cell phone, during the months, I will get notice telling me, you have utilized 75% of your bundle, or 90%, notifying me, everything. And there's a cap if you travel on roaming. And so the last time I was in Trinidad, I could not make a call to Grenada with my phone. Apparently, I reached my my limit, and a lot of ministers are in the same category. However, the government, in ensuring that this policy is strictly adhered to, will have periodic review to ensure that there are no abuse to the system. And it is the responsibility of the service provider, in this case Digicel, to enforce the policy as agreed to contractually with the government.
Recently, somehow, the bill for the mobile phones for the government became public. And in looking at some of it, that I was able to see some of it, and there was, for instance, a charge for $22,000 for data for a phone that was in the name of a former government worker, former Senator Sheldon Scott, who no longer, as far as I know, works with the government. The phone is still in service. And the $22,000 for data, that is within the government's limit?
I cannot speak to any individual because I have not seen the bill, so I cannot verify what you're saying, or verify or deny. All I'm saying is that we have a plan with Digicel, and if there's some failure in the system, a review has already begun. Dialogue has started last week with Digicel and the Ministry of Finance to ensure that what we sign on to is strictly adhered to. So I cannot really speak to any individual, with respect to the bill or whatever like that. Because I don't have the facts.
Could you remind me again what was the cabinet decision on how much they were willing to pay on individual cell phones? When they would have made the arrangement with Digicel, what was the limit that they had placed on individual usage?
No, it's a bundle. Huh? It's a internet bundle. I do not know what is the limit in terms of the amount of money, the monetary limit, because the charge based on this bundle that we have, the agreement with Digicel, government is assigned a certain amount of minutes for a certain amount of money. That's how it's done. So to say I do not know, for example, if my limit is $100 or $200. It's done in a different way. It's assigned to government for usage by the users of government phone.
There are a number of people who are still using these phones. I mean, everybody knows that.
Kalisha, just to interrupt you, I think the line of questioning, the minister would have addressed the matter in his opening statement. That stands, that is government's position on the matter as it relates to cell phones. It is now 3 minutes after 10. I think we should bring an end to the post-cabinet press briefing. 3 minutes after 11, sorry. I do think it is time for us to bring an end to this morning's post-cabinet press briefing.
My questions, Minister? You have an objection to answering my questions? Not whether you're able to or not, but do you have an objection to answering my questions?
Ended. Thank you very much to the journalists who were with us this morning, to our viewers who have joined us via radio, television, and social media. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you got lots of updates this morning. The new bus route that is coming on stream, updates coming out of the recently concluded CARICOM Heads of Government Summit in St. Lucia, and of course, updates with regard to repair work for the National Stadium, the capacity building that will happen when the Chinese team visits. And also from Minister Cox, you would have heard about upcoming news for Carnival. Do have clean, safe fun. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Hello, my name is Michaela Williams, winner of the Festival of the Arts Secondary School Solo Pan Competition. And these are my colleagues.
We are members of the Full Comancheros Field Orchestra, your current panorama champions.
Having won 3 of the last full panorama competitions in Spice Mass.
We are inviting you to Spice Mass 2019, especially junior and senior panorama, at the National Stadium on Saturday, 10th August 2019.
Come and enjoy the experience, the excitement, and the skills of the players of the various steel orchestra.
Suzuki Pan Wizards,
Republic Bank Angel Apps,
New Dimension,
Panacea,
Melody Warriors,
Rainbow City All-Stars, Ranroy Pan Angels, Digital Florida All-Stars,
and of course, Flow Comancheros.
After Panorama, you can join us on the road for Juve and Parade of the Bands on Monday the 12th and Tuesday the 13th of August.
Spice Mass 2019. Don't miss it.
You're just the woman of the night. The beauty of a woman is right in front of she. But the tight white jeans she wear and her body looking authentic. Who is holding you tonight? Who is kissing them so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You're just the woman of the night. You're just the woman of the night. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby. You're just the woman of the night. Without any woman in this carnival, when a woman jamming on me and I'm jamming back and she too loud. Boom! Who is holding her tonight? Who is kissing her so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You're just the woman of the night. You're just the woman of the night. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them.
And good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
And I'm Devon Romain.
And this is Hard Talk, 7 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock on the beautiful Spice Island of Grenada. Yeah, we had a little bit of rain this morning.
No, not a little bit of rain.
Well,
you perhaps get a little bit down.
Down the south of the island, bro. So I got a little bit of rain this morning.
In the north, the farmers are smiling.
They're smiling?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if we had many farmers in the south of the island, they might be smiling too, so you understand. Yeah, but just a little bit of rain. You know, when the further south you go, it'll be kind of dry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are live on 97.5 City Sound FM.
89.5 CRFM.
Yeah, 92.9 Sister Isle FM.
And 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Indeed, it's been an interesting one. Yeah, Devon, I see you hold the fort on Friday.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. You know, when
me and the people of Carriacou were conversing.
Well, I realized that. You know, it's and Friday was just a day in bringing back the week in review and so highlighting some of the things that and so on. We did well. So how was it the Carriacou trip?
Yeah, Carriacou was nice as usual.
That's good.
Yeah.
Beautiful Carriacou.
I didn't get to see my friends.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah. You know me on the boat already, and it's boat I go up with. So you know what happened? I was out for most of the day. And when I reach up, that is hard to sleep.
Yeah, that is it.
Yeah.
The boat ride is a hectic ride. If you're not accustomed to it, it gives you that kind of beatiness. Good morning to all of you who have joined us on the live. Beautiful morning here in Grenada.
Antonia, I'm seeing you there. Yeah, good morning to you, Chris and Carol. Hey, Carol, you are good list. You get a list.
I ain't had a listener, but Carol, you and the entire staff of Paddy's Enterprise, good morning to you, my dear. And I hope you guys are feeling so good. The rain is falling up there, I hope. Yeah.
So good morning to each and every one of you there on the live, and those of you listening via terrestrial radio. We just had the post-cabinet press briefing, several issues coming up there. The first one was a new bus route.
Yeah. New bus route.
I didn't hear the number, what number that sticker would be though.
Well, I guess it would be somewhere around 10 or 11 going up there.
I think that's a wonderful idea though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if 10 or 11 is not already in service somewhere,
It's possible.
I'm not Petite Martinique has a number.
Well,
there's a number assigned to Petite Martinique. I can't remember what it is. Somebody message me or call me and tell me it's Petite Martinique number.
Number 10 or 11 is not in Grenada, but But that's a good thing. For example, the route where it goes from Granans, Woodlands, St. David's, Grenville.
Yeah, because you see, what happens on a morning time, and I really feel it for a lot of the folks there, is that if you're living on the eastern side, or if you're coming to town from St. Andrew, St. Patrick, and you're passing on the eastern side, you find a lot of people that have to drop in Woodlands Cross, as we call it, and go by that little shed and wait. And flag a ride down with somebody that's going down.
To go down by the roundabout.
Or they have to look for a bus that is obviously legally running off route, and they have to get that bus that leaves St. Andrew and is making that special trip down that way.
And it may cost them extra.
Yeah, so that's what happens on that side. So to have an actual bus route now that people can apply for stickers for, and you're going that direction. So it starts in Grenville, but it terminates in Grand Anse. So they would have a sticker that allows them to drop off people in the Grand Anse area, and also to pick up people in the Grand Anse area and go up through Grenville. Okay. Yeah, they wouldn't have to go from Grand Anse to town, but they can pick up people in the Grand Anse area and then go through the valley, go through Calavini, Woodlands, Calavini, and then they're up to If they want to pass Woburn side, they pass Woburn side. They want to pass Woodland side, they pass Woodland side. But you do that, and then you head up to Grenville. Yeah.
That's so many people will be so glad for that.
I think it's also going to be helpful to a lot of the people who live in Woburn, Calavini, and Woodlands, who work in the Grand Anse and Frequente, Caliste, and Point Saline areas. Montrouge, Montou. Those who work in those areas, they would find it easier now. Because usually what they have to do now is they go by the Lansapine roundabout, and you see them flagging a ride now to try and get up through the valley because there's no official bus there. Or some of the Grand Dance buses, they go a certain distance into the valley and they drop them, and then they have to try and flag a ride or whatever from that. And
That's definitely not
yeah,
fair.
and you're talking about significant numbers of people here who are working in the south of the island and so on. So I think a route like that is going to help a lot of them, and especially if there are buses assigned that run late. So people who are in the tourism sector
would benefit.
Yeah, that's a one go. Instead of you having to take a bus and try and reach in Lagoon Road, then pass by Otway Service Station and walk to the top side and see if you could get a bus from there to go up Grenville. Now you can get one in Granans that going straight up to Grenville. So I think that's a good one. The thing now, I think that means therefore that you'll see two different numbers operating in the Grand Dance area now.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah, and then you'll see this other number, whatever this number is going to be, you'll see that operating in that area as well.
Then you will find not just the Grand Anse on the Eastern Main Road is number 2. So that other bus would have that, permission to also do.
I think that'll be a nice one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Also, there's another bus route, I think.
I missed part of it, but I think he was speaking about one passing through Red Gate.
Through Red Gate, right at the junction there. Instead of you going to Wester Hall School, you go through up to St. Paul's. So you're going up that side.
Also coming down, but you're passing top road instead of bottom road. Some buses do that already.
Some buses do that.
It's not an official route, but there are buses that do that coming down from Grenville. You have to know them. They come down from Grenville and they pass that way.
Even
and
in
they
the morning,
go down.
some of them pass St. Paul's and they head up that way. And so, so all in all, the commuters, they would be glad for that to ensure, especially the workers, Sheldon, especially who work on the southern side of our island and so. Mostly appreciated.
The minister also spoke about the Venezuela situation, which still remains a sort of tenuous situation in Venezuela. With the opposition forces going up against the government forces and so on there. And of the CARICOM position, Grenada's position, which is the CARICOM position of non-interference, willing to be on the negotiating table, willing to be the arbitrators. Grenada is one of the countries willing to be arbitrators in this entire situation that's taking place in Venezuela, but not taking one side or the other. Yeah, being willing to let the Venezuelan people come to their own conclusion of how, peacefully so, of how the direction that they would like to go.
Because ultimately, they are the ones that must decide the destiny of their country, right? Others can make suggestions and so to bring them together, but ultimately, it's the people and the leadership within Venezuela that have, to make amends and get this country, moving again.
Yeah, so the Venezuela situation, Haitian situation, sort of similar because you had the heads of government meeting last week. I know Minister Joseph was out there. You also have, they spoke about the carnival season.
Yes.
So you have the preliminary list for the Soca Monarch is out. And I'd like to say special congratulations to all of you who have made it into the, 30 or so, who have made it into the Soca Monarch semi-finals. Looking forward to a bumper one this year as usual. Up there in St. Andrew, I think they're heading to Progress Park.
Progress Park.
Yeah, and I wonder if Progress Park or Victoria Park they're going to go.
No, Progress Park.
Progress Park?
Yeah. Last year it was Progress Park too.
Yeah, I know previously it was held in Victoria Park.
Victoria Park.
So I don't know if they're going to keep with Progress Park or they're going to go Victoria Park or so on.
They might, they stay with Progress Park because I think the ambience there, how they had organized it was...
it was a nice ambience. You had sufficient parking and all that.
Exactly.
So probably, yeah. But I'd like to congratulate the finalists. You have Dash, Chaos and LED, Terra the Governor, Juice, Muddy, Mushman, Lil Jello, Travis, Ledneck, Inspector Stunner, Vaughn, Ronnie J, Pappy Boy, Kennedy, Killer B, Brother B, Valine, K1, Lil Carey, Looney Spark, and Electrify Boise, Otis, Mr. Walkie, Skulldog Hits, Hazley Punch, Superstar, Chucky HD, and Happy Boy. There's some names inside there, I really know.
I know. I mean,
maybe I hear in the song and all kind of thing, but I ain't know them. But
you have some. Oh my God, you have some kind of soca this year. I'm not.
Yeah, I think let's go to the phone now. I think we have a caller now.
Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, morning.
and Devon.
Good morning,
Morning.
Camille.
Good morning. How you all doing?
Oh, we are fine.
Great.
Well, I just on Balan,
Oh, Cammy, we're not hearing you. Cammy. Cammy, we're not hearing you. Apparently the
You're
phone.
not hearing me?
Yeah, you was away from the phone, it looked like, because we
Oh,
wasn't
I say,
hearing
well,
you.
I just see on Balan, Maharaj, and Jude, and Rex.
Yeah, man, Rex.
Sit down here. The terminal, kind of slow. Anyhow, I just allow me to say good morning to Patty and Matthew, Campbell Archer in Canada. Also to Mr. Watt. Good morning, sir, you and your wife, and Mr. Deputy. Boy, Depo, still running Grenada now, boy. Yeah.
You're teasing Depot, man.
And
that's
those in America and everybody. And I want to say a special good morning to Dr. Thomas, you know, and the rest of the Grenadian people, the Prime Minister, Mr. David, and everybody who is listening to my voice this morning. I just want them to know I'm alive. I'm alive, and we sit down here. Kind of slow, but we there, and we there.
All right.
All right, Camille.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you said that, boy. Stillman. Right now, New Dimension take it from the boy. Clarkson will make it instead, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anyhow, we are hanging in there.
All right.
All right,
So good morning to everybody again. I have nothing much to say. I could say a lot of things, but I go lie low today. Good morning to Miss Yolande Northford in Grenville. That's my good girl. Yeah. And the people say they want some of the ministers to, they must come out now and make a little walk around some now and then. Despite they're busy, they must come down and make a little walk. Rex, leave me alone, boy. Right now, look at Rex, give me a hard time here. Rex, give me a hard time. You look at give it done. You look at give it done. I'm calling your name because you are asking me. You understand? I'm having a hard time with these guys. You look at give it done. I tell you, we can anyhow, have a blessed day, Grenada.
All right,
bye-bye.
Rex, I hear you in the background, man. Behave.
Good morning to all the nation's bus drivers and conductors, wherever you are.
Yes, indeed. Hey, and the phone lines are open. 440-7377, 440-7377. Those are the numbers for you to call.
347-329-3101.
And folks, remember, we are on Facebook. Yeah, you can check us out on Hard Talk Grenada Live and also on YouTube. Yeah, you look for Hard Talk Grenada on YouTube and you can get us. And if you're having problems with either of those, you can go to our website, www.hardtalkgrenada.com. Yeah, so anywhere you travel in the world, you can go there and you can view Hard Talk live. Yeah, beautiful. Nice, wonderful.
Good morning, Denise. Yeah. How are you this morning?
Hey, let me say a special good morning to Leslie as well. Yeah, Leslie as well. Folks, a bunch, well, not a bunch, but a single vehicle key was lost at the Point Celine Airport this morning. A vehicle key. And if you have not yet turned it into the airport security, or you've turned it into the nearest police station or whatever, at least the South St. George police station or wherever, yeah? And they can notify the airport security because it's very important. There's an individual who has their van is locked and all the important documents are in the van and the key was lost on the airport this morning. The Point Celine Airport, it was lost anywhere. You could have found that key anywhere between 8:30 and 9:30, anywhere between there. All right. I was down the airport myself this morning. As you know, I have a relative who passed the great beyond, and as such, you know, I'll not be in on Thursday saying early, because you know certain people going to say, I want to come on program and think, no. My uncle has passed away, and as such, you know, I usually don't talk my business here, but I'm going to talk it this time. My uncle has passed away, and as such, I will not be on Thursday. Yeah? I'm going to be on tomorrow and on Friday, God's willing, but I'll not be on Thursday because the funeral is taking place on Thursday, so I'll not be on Thursday. Let's go to the phone line.
Good morning and welcome.
Oh, yes. Good morning to you.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. And how do you do?
Quite fine.
Right. I was listening to this press conference, the cabinet briefing, and with Mr. Joseph and Mr. Cox. And I note the future transportation route change, coming from the east into St. George's. I'm wondering now if this St. David's Springs, St. George's route will be cut off, or if all the buses coming from the east will have to go through Grandlands into the terminus. Could you help me there?
I didn't hear the last part of your inquiry.
Okay, the inquiry is that would all the buses, the east buses, coming into St. George's have to go through Grandlands to the terminus, or would the current route be maintained, Springs terminus, or terminus into Springs St. David's?
No, the current ones that go through Springs, those are number 2 in it. Yeah, that continues.
Okay.
They go ahead with that. But what has been added?
A new route.
Yeah, because what has happened before is that there are people that are going to Grenville or come from Grenville that are going to Grand Anse. And what was happening to these folks is they had to take a bus from Grenville, then they had to drop off now at Otway Service Station. Good morning to the staff there at Otway Service Station. They had to drop off there, just walk the little piece, and then take a second bus now, a Grand Anse bus, into Grand Anse. Now, what government is doing for these people, and the significant numbers, because if you're passing there, like about, let's say around 4 in the afternoon.
Or even 7:30 in the morning.
Yes, 7:30 in the morning. There's sometimes as much as 20-something, 30-something people around that area. They're congregated trying to get a bus up or down. So what government is saying, for those people, and that's just at one time, because you have people constantly coming and crowds of people going. Instead of going through that, they are creating that route where they're coming through Calavini and so on, and then going through Grand Anse Valley. So they may have the option, a bus may decide I'm passing through Woburn, or they may pass through the Woodlands and then take it by the Woodlands Cross and head down through the valley and into Grand Anse, which would make it a lot easier for those persons. So it's one cost instead of having to pay one bus from Grenville to basically town, then one from town to Grand Anse. Yeah?
Yeah, I understand it. That's why I called, because you see, I said if it's mandated that all the east buses having to go through Grand Anse and then terminus, they definitely will raise. You know, so I was wondering if the Springs route will be cut off. So if that is the case, it only says that the Grand Anse people are not serviced, the Grand Anse buses are not serviced that area properly.
No, the Grand Anse buses, they come up to...
That's where the problem,
they pass by,
the problem is.
But it's Ira Shop, I think they call it.
Yeah,
they go up to by Ira Shop. They may go a little past that, and they usually spin around and head back. They don't go straight through the valley and into Woodlands, and so they usually reach to a certain distance in the valley and they turn around. If the bus is sort of empty and you pay an additional cost, a driver may say, okay, I'll go make a run a little further with you, but they don't go straight through. And so what you find, even if you're passing there now, through that area, and you're passing at Woodlands Cross, and I think you know the area, yeah?
I know the area.
So you're passing through Woodlands Cross now, heading towards On the Spot. You will see some people standing up by the little bus shed. In fact, the company put that bus shed there because of what a lot of people were going through, especially people who are working in places like the airport and some of the supermarkets in the south and the tourism sector. So this is going to help them in a big way. This is really going to help a lot of them in a big way.
Yeah, I would understand that. I was thinking that the Grand Anse, the Springs would be cut off. That would be a problem for us and these people.
No. You can't cut off that route. Very important. You can't cut that off.
That's okay.
That's an artery. You can't cut off that one. It will kill the place. All right. Thank you very much, caller.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So that's the thing. And I'm glad he raised that, because if it's in his mind, and I know he's a critically thinking person, if it's in his mind, it may be in others' mind that if you cut off that, you're going to cut off that route since you're going that way. And people have to come that way and just go, no, they're not going to cut off the Springs route. That Springs route is really important too because there are several businesses in Springs as well, that people would like to go to also. And some people, sometimes you're going into a cafe or you're going into, what do you call this other area, Jean Anglais or so on. So you must go through Springs to go there. So that route is an important route.
Very, very important.
Yeah. In fact, that route has always been an important route, which is the reason back in the day there was the traffic light at the Francis Pet Supply Junction because of the volume of traffic that was passing there. At that time, the Lagoon Road was not a popular route for people to drive by. It wasn't, the road was that kind of thing. People didn't used to pass there. The Grand Dance buses, they would come through Grand Dance, then they would come through Belmont. And pass through by Francis Pet Supply, go through Paddock, Tantine, into town. That's how the buses used to go. They didn't even pass Port Highway. They passed through Tantine and then into town. But as the Port Highway was developed and as the Karani James Boulevard was developed, you found now that became the main thoroughfare. And now you don't even have buses passing on the top.
Yeah, they do only at particular times when
they have passing.
Yeah, when Tam CC.
I didn't even know they have passing. Yes, Gami.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
You have two doctors on the terminal here. Anytime all you need any medication, Dr. Frederick and Dr. John. You hear? Anytime you all need any medication, you want Devon.
Okay.
Dr. Frederick, better known as Vala, and Dr. John, better known as Anthony. Yeah, you could get any medication for the carnival from them. Right? So you could check them out.
Later, Gami. By the time she called the name, I know she talking about it.
Bola, okay.
Oh, Tony, poor Tony.
Patrick Noel. Tony, leave the people thing alone.
Tony and Bala, only behave on yourself. Only relax now. Oh, God. Only give it easy.
Two telescope, man.
Yeah, thank you all. Those of you who are sending your condolences, thank you so very much. On behalf of my family and myself, thank you very much. That's had me extremely busy over the past few days, especially. I've had to be down to the airport and family members and all of that. And I was pretty close to my uncle. Yeah, in fact, I have no shame in saying it's my favorite uncle. Yeah, so I was pretty close to my uncle, and it's had me kind of not only for the last few days, but for the past few weeks while he was ill as well. And then I lost one of my nephews just a couple weeks before. And then as soon as I buried my nephew, my uncle decided to follow right after. But it's a rough one.
Good morning, my friend.
Hey, Brother Sheldon, I have my sympathy. I just heard from you that your uncle died.
Yeah.
Sheldon, be strong. It's a time that come for that, but then it will be a sad time. Brother Sheldon, I want to support. I support the government move. Right? But when people came out, they say St. David, they come St. David area, and they have to come walking Grenada. And they have to come through town. Then take a next bus and then go down by Grenada. That is extra money. So, you know, what is government doing? They're making it life much easier for the people. The way they could save money. So I support that move. So then when people are walking Grenada, instead of coming to town, they just swing and whenever they swing and go through Grenada, we're going to place in Grenada Valley and then go through Grenada.
Yeah.
Right? That's much easier for them people. They could save money. Because when you come to town and then go down background, it makes no sense. So that is a right move that the government make to help people and to encourage people to save money. Because I always say this is the government that help people to save and they reach out and help the poor needed. And Brother Sheldon, they want to look at something at the Venezuela issue. Because you know there was some country that thinking about getting rid of the Maduro government and putting the opposition in power. That was a very negative move. And all we want to see is best thing is for both parties come together and try to solve the problem. Go on the table and let the mediator mediate between the government and the opposition to solve the problem. Because the Venezuelan people is the one to solve the problem. No other country should want to get rid of our next elected government, a democratic government, and put in the opposition government. Because in the first instance, the opposition did not partake in the election. They refused. So how we want to put them there now to govern? They chaos. So I support the CARICOM leaders that the move that they take, right? It is the right move to be a mediator between the both parties for them to solve the problem. Brother Devon, Sheldon, you have a wonderful day. God bless you. Brother Devon, be strong.
Yes, my friend.
All right, thank you.
Wonderful day.
All right. Yes, indeed. 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101.
Yeah, and the thing is this, because you hear a lot of people making statements in relation to the Venezuela situation. But it's simply this. Why would any democratic country, any country that is led by groups of people who have been voted in by the majority of the population, who are given the responsibility to lead the charge for the development of that country, why would any country support removing a government by undemocratic means? And all that is being said by CARICOM, the CARICOM position is simply this. The opposition has concerns, the government has concerns in Venezuela. CARICOM is willing to work as the arbitrator. We're willing to provide, if we want to come and they want to come to Carriacou, so all the different sides want to come and sit down in Carriacou, and you want to go up in CHS building and sit down and have a discussion, or you want to go in Mermaid Tavern and have a discussion, that CARICOM is willing to facilitate that. You want to go out on Calavini Island?
Yes.
And you want to go and have a discussion out there, and you sit and you decide that you're not leaving without a proper deal, where the opposition gets something and the government gets something and everybody's happy at the end of the day. Nobody will be totally happy because you wouldn't get everything you want, but at least that it is a workable arrangement that's to the benefit of the Venezuelan people and not to any other country or any interest, but it is to the benefit of the Venezuelan people. Once that is done, that's the main thing that CARICOM is saying, and that this discussion must be a discussion and not war. You don't want this saber rattling. You don't want the Caribbean to become a war zone. You want the Caribbean, as we have been and continue to be, continuously a zone of peace. So you don't want to have a situation where you have one side trying to fight the next side and coup and this and all these sort of things happening. CARICOM's position is that the way to find a solution to the issues that are in Venezuela through discussions and through mediation and that sort of thing. Yeah? I think we have a call online.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning. I know it's against your principle, but sorry.
30 seconds.
But you know somewhat I'm excited about?
Mm-hmm.
Finally, we got there. That arrangement that is being put in place now to look at trade between the South Americans, the diaspora, and Africa. That is long overdue. We should be looking at a long, long time ago where we have direct trade between Africa, South America, and as I say, the diaspora. And there is a reason for that. But it takes long to see it. But that is welcome.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
All right.
Very much so.
Thank you very much. And I remember years ago, there was a Nigerian delegation, I think it's Nigerian, that came to the Caribbean. And as part of their trip, they brought over this thing, the palm olive. Yeah. They brought over some of the seeds and so on. They gave to different countries and so on. I'm not too sure how that plant would acclimatize to our climate and that sort of thing. But it wasn't that it was, all they send is some seeds to the Caribbean. It was the beginning of the development of such a relationship. Exactly. But somewhere along the line, on both sides, the Caribbean and on the African continent side, I ain't calling them no subcontinent. Nothing in Africa is sub. We are continent. They like to say the African subcontinent. We're not no sub. We're not no under nobody. African continent. Yeah? So somewhere along the line, the discussions from that side and the discussions from this side fell apart. And I'm glad to see, because I think the president of Ghana recently made a trip. He went to Guyana, and then he went to Jamaica.
I think he was in St. Vincent.
He was in St. Vincent as well, yeah. So he made a couple stops and so on.
And that's the beginning. I mean,
yeah.
Things to come.
Because what you're speaking about here is a possibility. And this is where our minds need to be as well. Huh? You're opening the possibility now of basically billions of dollars in trade heading both directions.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars in trade. So you have the possibility now of sending goods and services over to Africa, things that are produced here that probably cannot be produced or of different quality, for instance, our spices and so. Africa is not big in certain areas on spices, but we have a lot of spices here and other things that we can produce in the Caribbean that can go over, and then there are products and so on from the African continent that can be coming over here. High quality products that can be coming over to the Caribbean as well. Also, when it comes to things like the cocoa trade, yeah, if there is a reasonable agreement between the African continent and Caribbean countries, you can basically control the price of the market in relation to cocoa. And I think that's one of the things that some of the countries like Ghana and so on are looking at, to control the price of cocoa. So instead of just getting whatever it is now, you could probably do it in a way that you can get more. Yeah, so it benefits the farmers more. It benefits the people more. Yeah, the cocoa trade. As we said, 440-7377, 38 minutes after the hour of 11.
347-329-3101. Also, too, Sheldon, the whole question of the cultural ties, right, between the African continent, right, where our folk parents from, and the Caribbean. So much rich history that we have to rekindle right there in Carriacou, for example. Right, we have seen the re-establishment of that cultural links, and that is very, very important. You know, so because it can only spell development and betterment for our people.
But you have to remember too that in Carriacou, we do have the culture. And every time I start to speak about Carriacou, I say we. We do have the tradition, the cultural tradition. And I need to, before I even go further on that, let me make sure and congratulate Rena Mills and Anderson. I just always remember Anderson, leftist, and the entire crew there on the Carriacou culture train. If it's one group of people that always try to keep the culture alive, you see that Anderson, we may not agree on politics, we may not agree on a lot of things, but is a person that I really respect when it comes to keeping art form, the culture alive in Carriacou. Yeah, Anderson, is Matterson, yes?
Yeah, Matterson.
He's a Matterson, yeah. Well, leftist, everybody know what I'm talking about in Carriacou. I respect him a lot for that. And the other guys and girls that are on the Carriacou culture train. So they've been doing a lot of activities, and so they had the parang train when it was Christmas time, and now they're doing the culture train. So throughout the year, they're making sure that the traditions survive. You have the string band music, you have the quadrille and all of these things, and they're trying to make sure that that survives. Even while I was in Carriacou, I was having a discussion with one of the famous big drummers there, and he was telling me that he's doing this project now where he's getting some drums and so that he could start teaching some of the younger people the different drumming patterns for the big drum dance and that sort of thing. So keeping the traditions alive. Years ago, there were people that came from Sierra Leone, the Akan tribe, and this is a kind of broad heading. The Akan is a kind of broad heading. But they came over to reconnect with the Carriacou side. They're here in Grenada as well, but they came to reconnect with the Carriacou side, who've been keeping the tradition alive, including the language. The elder folks still speak a bit of the language. So they came to reconnect with Carriacou, with some of the dances and the drumming and all that sort of thing. They met with Mr. Fleury, Winston Fleury. Yeah, they met with Mr. Fleury and so on. So that's a good one as well. Yeah, as I said, 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101.
Yeah, a reminder to those of you down on the app, if you find the keys, here's what. If you find the keys, call 406-5422. If you find not keys, but key. It's one key on a hook. 406-5422. Just call that number. Yeah. And you can tell the person that answers the phone, hey, I find the key. Where you can check me. All right? They can't drive it where they're driving with, but they have to drive it because the key lost. But they will come and check you. Go right ahead.
We have a fogging schedule, right, from the Ministry of Health. And so starts today, Tuesday, the 9th day. Right, the areas Lansepine, including Secret Harbor, Marina, and its environs, from 5 p.m. today. Right, the fogging will start around this area. On Wednesday, 10 July, True Blue, including True Blue Bay Marina and its environs from 5 p.m. And on Thursday, the 11th of July, Paddock, including Lagoon Road and its environs, 5 p.m. All right? So those of you who are in these particular areas, pay attention, and you need to take precaution. For example, they have persons who may be asthmatic, who cannot stand the scent or the fogging, and so you get them out before time and everything, right? So you give them enough time. And also, for homeowners, don't lock up your houses. Leave the windows and so open, so the fogging can go right through.
It's Grenada. It's not like somebody going and go inside your place and all kind of thing.
Let it kill the mosquito. Let it do what it's intended to do. Okay? So pay attention to the schedules. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the south of the island.
Devon, years ago I used to live in Mount Moritz. So when I was going to work sometimes, I just leave the house open. So I leave the door open. Like when I say open, not just unlocked, but open.
One of the safest areas in Grenada. Eh?
You know what used to happen? Yeah. I used to reach home and find food inside. I find a fig, I find a bowl of mango, I find a golden apple. Sometimes I find cooked food. So just reach home and find that. So one of the safer areas and so. Yeah. 4407377 and Devon, Mr. West put it down again, you know I like my Mr. West.
Yeah, well I hear him.
Yeah.
You have two Calypsonians that I really like, Mr. West and my guy from Carriacou.
You're talking about
his song.
Not General, Major.
Yes, Major Dixon.
Major Dixon. Major Dixon, I haven't got your music yet. Yes, the carnival is coming up, folks, and I haven't gotten Major Dixon's music yet. But once I get it, I will play it. But we have Hezekiah here. We have a piece from Mr. West, a former member of the Royal Grenada Police Force as well. Huh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we have Hezekiah. But we have a piece of Hezekiah, man. Meanwhile, folks, the phone lines are open. 4407377
and 347-329-3101.
Magic in your eyes, the sweetness of your lips, the way those women looking, you could tell they're really sweet, Lord. Boom! But who is holding you tonight? Who is kissing them so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You just the woman of the night. You just the woman of the night. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby.
We have a call online. Good morning.
Good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon.
Good
morning. Doing today?
Wow, that sounds like the SVW.
Better get ready for 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Beautiful voice.
We have a lot of things to talk about. Remember, we have a date.
Yeah, I'll be there. But goodness gracious. You know it goes with me right now.
Yeah, I know.
You know my situation, yeah.
I know. But I'm just calling to use your platform to invite persons to join me, piggybacking on you, on Brass Tacks on Thursday nights and Sunday. Sunday, we started this Sunday from 8 to 10, and then Thursday night we're starting at 8:30 to 10. Brass Tacks is all about Calypso.
Wow.
It's all about a platform for the exposure of Calypso that folks are saying they're not hearing much of on the regular run-of-the-mill radio stations, the DJs, etc. This is part of an initiative to help boost the art form. The mother of it all, the mother who birthed soca and groove and raga soca and chutney soca and all the rest. We seem to be losing her along the way. So this program is designed for that purpose. It's part of leading the way into the Marche Gras. There are lots of things coming for the Marche Gras for folks who would have listened to the cabinet briefing this morning. The minister did allude to a number of initiatives. He is very, very strong about ensuring that Calypso gets treated with kids' gloves, if I may use that for want of a better terminology, in terms of ensuring that we can take care of it in a positive way and bring some recognition back through it all. We know the issues with persons claiming about not hearing the calypso music. Some artists not in a position to record, so there's no music out there. But I can assure you that the amount of people that are interested in calypso, Sheldon, I was amazed that we went online. We're on WeiFM. We're going to be going on Magic as well Thursday night. We're on Sister Isle Radio. We're on Carriacou. We're on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We had over 2,000 people viewing us on Facebook in the first night. My guest was Colin Dow, and we spoke at length on calypso. We played their music and so on and so forth. So we have a lot in store. So I just want to use your platform to encourage your viewers to tune in and let's talk calypso. We're looking forward to ideas as well, because we're all in this thing together. It cannot be an isolated situation. If we're going to maintain the most important, the genesis of our music culture, everything came from there. We have to definitely pay some attention to it. So I thought I would tease you guys this morning on that.
And 3 o'clock, huh?
No.
3 o'clock?
Yes, 3 o'clock.
No, this afternoon.
Yes.
Me and you.
My dear.
Yeah, me, you, and others. 3.
And tell my dear friend Devon, if he needs a night nurse, he can call me for a reference for that hand. I don't know why it's bandaged up, but just in case.
Well, yeah, I remember you had a similar situation, yeah? Yeah. So, Brass Tacks, we're looking for that.
Brass Tacks.
It's going to be on Sister Isle FM.
Sister Isle as well in Carriacou.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Beautiful.
So guys, take care.
All right, take care.
Love you both.
Thank
and
you.
you know we love you.
We love you more.
All right.
Bye.
Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah, so we're looking out for Brass Tacks.
Yeah, Brass Tacks.
And if they're discussing calypso, and I'll recommend as well that you all look at that program continually throughout the year. I think one of the problems we have with our culture, and in particular our steel pan and our calypso, is that we focus on doing that these few weeks before Carnival, and then the Wednesday after Carnival, you jump a bus and you realize all soca done play. All calypso done play. All you're starting to hear is a lot of the other music from other parts of the world coming in. Yeah? So we need to focus a bit on having calypso. Why do we have to have all the Legends concerts and calypso concerts and all these things? Why do we only have to have them now? What happened to October? What happened to November?
And December.
Kaiso lovers are Kaiso lovers, You're bringing good Kaisonians and so along with a local cast and so later in the year, and people will come out. You have a major pan activity later in the year, early up in the year, people will come out. So I think that we have to get out of the mindset of looking at our culture in that small frame of Carnival and the few weeks leading up to Carnival and the Carnival itself, and start looking outside of that box at the rest of the year, before and after Carnival, and how we can use that time to develop the product. Carnival should be the showcase for what we've been doing all year. So all year you're practicing.
Another thing that's used to inject some fun part, before the Carnival season was the whole question of the extempo competition. You used to have an extempo.
I've heard of that for a while.
Yeah, some way in December. You understand? Bernstein and these guys. You had a platform for persons, to start there. So basically, the whole Carnival spirit would have started right around the whole December area. But that extempo thing has basically died away. I really hope.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
there used to be the Talk Calypso.
Yeah.
There used to be Talk Calypso down at Fantasia. There used to be the Talk Calypso. Right after Carnival, you started Talk Calypso. So you had to go and not sing.
But
talk your calypso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was funny. Hey, good morning to you, Tipo. How you doing this morning? Camille already said, but I want to say a special good morning to Dr. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you're feeling much better today. All right, based on the information we got, you're doing much better.
Yeah.
And God is always with you, and you
Because
are in
Doc,
our prayers.
I will be personally making the recommendation for a national award for Doc. I'm saying it in the open. I'll personally be making the recommendation for a national award for Dr. Winston Thomas.
Deserved it.
And I know that there are many thousands of people that would second that award. Yeah, so we hope that everything goes all well and okay. We know more than likely, if you're not watching World News, that you're listening to us.
To HARDTALK.
Oh, there he's in Cuba?
Yeah, he is in Cuba.
So you know more than likely he's listening.
He's doing much better. He sat up and watched Copa America on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's good.
Nice, beautiful.
Right,
So
we
Doc,
love that, Doc.
Yeah.
We cheering, we rooting. And Cammy sent a special good morning to you. Okay?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And you see, the Groovy competition is going to be taking place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Carnival City, folks. I think it's starting at 7 each night.
7
so I think it's around 7. Yeah. But we get the exact time, whether it's 7, 8. You could go from 7 and go in the bar and you help out things.
Yeah.
So if go from 7.
It's those 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. So you're going there. So we know that Hezekiah will be down there.
Definitely
Hezekiah. Yeah, woman of the night, what? She does grooving her.
The beauty of a woman is right in front of she. But the tight white jeans she wear and her body looking authentic. Who is holding you tonight? Who is kissing them so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You just the woman of the night.
That Groovy is going to be a serious competition.
The woman of the night? Wow.
Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby. You just the woman of the night.
And St. David's, so watch out for us.
I don't know how I'll be in Hezekiah this time.
Hezekiah coming rough day, boy.
What?
Dash, you have competition this year.
Yeah, competition this year, Dash.
Because West could perform, eh? Don't watch Hezekiah so.
Hezekiah bad, man.
Watch this man sing until he sweat and soak his clothes.
I know his dress code, man.
Yeah.
His dress code is excellent. It's like
44073. We have roughly about 7 minutes remaining. About 7 minutes remaining on today's program.
3293101.
Don't watch me so. Afraid your eyes. Already what happened to you? You look good. You have a good booty. Move it, man. Come on. Hey! Turn it back, girl. Don't hold it back. Shake it back.
That was a year before's composition. But I just love that groove. Huh? And Deepo is saying, I don't know that tune, Deepo, by Lava, man.
I don't want it for my
You're fat, but you're thick. But you used to be bigger than that, baby. Don't hold it back. You have a wings in the back. Who flying on that? You have a wings in the back. Who propping up that?
There's no way you could hate Mr. West. You just must love Hezekiah. You must love him. Believe me.
Hezekiah.
Gonna buy a brand new boots with studs for that one, boy. You ever see this man without a cowboy boots and hat?
Nah.
I don't think I've ever seen him. Even tongue. Everywhere I see him, he always have on a cowboy boots.
The only time I believe he doesn't wait is when he's taking it off.
But before we leave, before people say we trying to avoid things, before we leave, and you realize we had the phone lines open, so anybody could have called.
Oh, yeah.
So the phone lines were open because there's a lot of things going on now, and the government has made a statement this morning in relation to the use of government phones. Yeah. And as government has spoken with Digicel, they've been in discussions with Digicel, and so because you would have heard from the minister this morning, there is a bundle that the government does have. And that is a consistent bundle. That's one cost that they pay on a monthly basis and so. And so they're having discussions with Digicel in relation to that bundle, filter out what shouldn't be there and so on, and keeping things in line with what has to be done. So they are doing their internal review. At the end of that internal review, they will decide on what path they're going to take in relation to mobile phones and so. Yeah? So they have a package, and it has been that way from ever since. They have packages and so on. The package was changed in 2013. They changed the package over from Flow to Digicel and so on. Both would have to bid, and they decide, well, okay, this is your package for unlimited calls, and so this is your overseas package. this is your data package and so on. And all of those things have a cap on them. Yeah, unless other than the unlimited calls. So the unlimited calls are unlimited calls.
Yeah.
But there's a particular cap on other areas. So government has had that discussion. They initiated, when they looked and they saw, well, okay, this isn't looking right. They had that discussion with Digicel, and those discussions will continue, and they initiated. So it's not anybody come and make government initiate. The meeting took place since last week, and they have initiated that process. So at the end of that, they will decide which direction they're going to take it. All right?
And how to move forward.
Yeah, how to move forward on that. Yeah, so we're pretty coming close to the end. Maybe we could slip in one more call if somebody calls about now. We might be able to slip in one more call, Yeah, but let's see what's going on. Yeah. Remember, folks, somebody had a vehicle lock up and they can't get the documents because they lost the key. So if you found that key down in the area of the Maurice Bishop International Airport, I hope that you turned it into the security down there. If not, call 406-5422. It's very important that they get that key.
And just a tip for most of our parents. The school is on vacation, our children is out there, and so just be mindful of wherever you're sending your children to the different summer schools and so, right? Make sure that you know where you're sending them and the conditions they'll be under. Be very careful as to who, right, you trust to put your child, right, the care of your child in. You have to be very, very careful, right? We want to encourage all parents to get your children involved in summer programs, right? And so get them occupied. Don't have them home just doing nothing. And so get them involved and so on. And thus, their involvement with other kids over the holiday. But just be careful, how you do it and so on. To all the kids who may be listening to us, hey, be careful. Have a wonderful summertime, all right? And just do the things that children do,
No, I'm just getting a notification that the Royal Grenada Police Force have started an investigation in relation to a video that's in circulation.
Yeah, I would have expected that.
Yeah, there's a video in circulation of an incident that took place on one of the popular party vessels. We're going into details there. And the police have launched an investigation into exactly what took place. Yeah. I hope people are aware that it is against the law to circulate that video. So if you know you've got it on your Facebook page or you've been sending it via WhatsApp and so, please desist. Please desist from doing so. And you can be charged.
And again, to the law concerning that too is very ticklish because the whole question of the public space, and I was listening to Attorney Rogless Ferguson, and it's a law that we got to educate ourselves to and be careful of what we do, right? Where and how we do it, all right? So hey, just educate yourself on these laws, electronic laws, and so, because we continue to do things, right, and there are serious consequences for them, right, and we must be mindful of them.
Yeah. Folks, that's all the time we have for today. It's been wonderful being here with you. Indeed, we'll be back tomorrow at more Hard Talk from 10 a.m. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And in everything you say and do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
Not about you.
Love each and every one of you unconditionally.
Peace out.
Magic in your eyes, the sweetness of your lips, the way those women looking, you could tell they're really sweet. Oh, boom! But who is holding you tonight? Who is kissing them so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You just the woman of the night. You just the woman of the night. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby. You're just the woman of the night. You know I walk in kiss, and you know I like it.
Stay Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.